In this lecture, we're going to talk about security assessments. And security assessments are those big picture, very broad scopes where we go and look at how effective our access controls actually are. Security assessments can span multiple areas of our organizations or sometimes the entire organization. They have multiple parts and they can give us that high-level picture that gives us a better understanding: are we as secure as we should be, and if not, where can we improve? We need our policies, our procedures, and all the other administrative controls that we have in place, the frameworks that we give to our employees so they know what is acceptable and what is not. If we're not very clear that Bob is not allowed to bring his USB stick to work, download his files so he can work at home, it's going to be very difficult for us to blame Bob when he does. So for the USB sticks, we could have a policy that said you can't bring USB sticks to work, both because we don't want the data leaving the organization. Also, USB sticks can be infected with malware, which can then compromise our internal systems. So we need the policy in place saying this is not allowed. Then we need to train Bob so he knows this is not allowed, and we have talked about this before. Giving them the training is not enough. We need to raise their awareness. And when we raise their awareness, that's the point where they change their behavior. Then on top of that, we might also choose to disable the ports. So when Bob, who's completely aware of the policy, he's had the training, he still brings the USB stick in because these are Christmas pictures. These my coworkers need to see. But we have the port disabled. So him doing what he knows he's not supposed to isn't as much of a problem. Alright, that's enough Bob for now. So we have all these very well-written policies, procedures, and other administrative controls in place. Now we need to assess, do they actually work? And remember here, in many places, IT security is seen as a nuisance because we make their work slightly more complicated to do. They just think, but this is the way we have done this for 20 years. It has never been a problem before. Why do we need to change now? They don't see or they don't understand that we need to make sure that the organization is secure enough and they are part of that. They just see their little piece of the pie, which now, because of what we do, is more difficult. It takes more time, it takes more effort, there are extra logins or whatever we have implemented. And this is another one of those places where it's a fine balance that we need to strike. We need to make sure that we are secure enough for what our organization needs, but also that we're minimally intrusive in the daily lives of our employees. If we make it too difficult, if we make it too complex, too annoying, I can guarantee you that employees will find ways around your security measures. As part of our security assessments, we would also look at change management. For every change we have in our environment, we need to go through the proper change management process. And this is us saying, this is the change we want to make. This is what we're going to get out of that change. These are the risks, both if we implement and we do not. This is the backup plan if the implementation fails. And then someone needs to go in and assess all that and approve it. We don't just make changes on the fly. We might also want to do architectural reviews, both physical and logical. And doing those reviews can help us spot some of the weak areas that we might have, the places where we need to improve our security posture. As part of our security assessment, we can also do penetration testing, vulnerability assessments, or just vulnerability scans. And then finally, we can use security audits, and those can both be internal or external. If the industry that our organization is in have regulations that we need to follow or compliance requirements, it's very common that every year auditors come out to our organization and make sure that we live up to those regulations and compliances. Now for security assessments, which of these are part of the security assessment? The policies, the procedures, change management, architectural reviews, audits, assessments, pen tests. That really depends on the scope. What are we trying to achieve here? And then with that scope in mind, we pick the parts that make sense. If our organization is very large, this may be broken into smaller pieces or into entirely different security assessments for different areas or different departments. Just understand that IT spans everything, so we need to make sure that we have the same strong security posture across all departments and all our facilities. And with that, we are done with security assessments. Thank you for being here, and I will see you in the next lecture.